Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
We say good morning to Otaki MP Nathan Guy. Good morning, Nathan.
Morning, Nigel. How are you?
I'm well. What's it like in Levin today? That's where you are, isn't it?
Yes, I'm here in my office. It's a nice day, reasonably cool, but people are coming in and having a chat to me today about all sorts of things.
I should imagine they're mentioning the debacle that's going on in the House at the moment. It must be much quieter for you today.
Oh, well, I've seen all that happen before.
Yes.
We just feel that the Speaker needs a bit of a reset.
Right.
At the start.
He's going to be a hard man to reset. Yeah, he's going to be a hard man to reset.
He will be, but he does, I don't know, for those listeners out there that follow Parliament, he just waves his fingers around and takes supplementary questions off us, and it's really frustrating, particularly when our job is to hold the government to account. So we just think that he needs to take a bit of notice what's occurred in the last couple of days and have a bit of a reset for the next session. Now, whether he does that or not, that'll be completely up to him.
Yes, you go into recess for a couple of weeks, do you now?
Yes, we do.
So it might quieten things down.
Yes, probably will a bit.
Yeah.
Good opportunity for me to get out and about and MPs to move around the country.
Sure. Now, it was good news that we got your email last week about Air Chathams. You'd had a chat with them, and it looks still very positive that it may go ahead here at Kapiti.
Yes, I'm still very much optimistic. It has taken a bit longer than probably all the parties thought it would. There's just a couple of little technical things that they're trying to work their way through. So I'm still hopeful that Air Chathams will be in. It may take a couple of months before we see a plane start resuming services through to Auckland. But I think all parties are on the same page that they all want to get Air Chathams in and recommence the flights. It's just, a couple of little frustrating things to iron out along the way.
Yes. Do you think Levin people will want to use the service from here, or would they still go to Palmerston North, which is most probably just as close?
Well, the tendency for Levin people is they tend to go north because it's a bit easier to get there, less chance of getting caught up in traffic. Although now with the expressway down there, it's a hell of a lot easier, but that Otaki roundabout is still a problem if you get caught any time around sort of Sunday evenings or Friday nights or whatever. It can be gridlock there. So they probably anyone north of Levin would tend to look to Palmerston North, and anyone south of Levin, how Manukau, etc., they'd be thinking, well, Air Chathams is a good viable option to get through to Auckland.
Right. Oh, well, we wait with bated breath. And talking about the expressway, we've still got quite big problems there, haven't we, as you may have read in the paper this morning? Or,
yes.
Was that because the job was done too quickly, or do you think it's,
No, I don't think so. I think when we look back to when they were getting ready to do all that sealing, it was quite wet at the time. And, they didn't have to rush it. And at one stage, they were looking at getting it all done before December. And then various things happened, and they were still sealing through quite a wet summer, early autumn period to get it all ready. So I think, and I haven't been close to what's been happening, but I think that may have been the problem, or part of the problem.
Is there any contingency in the payment of that by the contractors to have to fork up for it, or is that the taxpayer's job?
That's going to be a good few questions that I'm going to write down and ask the Minister what exactly is happening there, because from remembering contracts that I've seen, there's always a contingency for this.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of who's paying for it, because probably we're all a bit worried to think that taxpayers are paying for it, when indeed if it's sort of workmanship and quality of the finish, then that should be back, you would think, on people in the alliance.
Any news on the Peka Peka interchange? Is that still going ahead? Or
well, it's good news that we've got the cycleway, isn't it? Anyone that's out there recreating really enjoys the cycleway, the shared pathway from Mackay through to Peka Peka, and it's great to have that confirmed through to Otaki. There's a bit of doubt on the Peka Peka interchange as to whether that money's now been raided heading up to Auckland for the trams and the like, which would be a big disappointment. Well, because if you fundamentally miss the off-ramps at Te Moana and Waikanai, and there's nothing at Peka Peka, then you're sort of a 40k round trip, I think, almost to get back.
Yeah, sure. All right. So we'll put that in the too hard basket.
there needs to be one at Peka Peka. I'll keep pushing for it, but I'm just wondering whether they're going to say no, it's a bit costly now and that money's going elsewhere. So we need clarity and certainty on that one.
Sure. I see the Nats have got a MP's bill which will allow random roadside testing for drugs. What stage is that at, Nathan?
That's a good point. Is that the saliva test? It might be. I can't remember the specifics of that. We've got a lot of private members' bills in the ballot.
Yes.
And what happens is every second Wednesday there is a private, what's called a members' day. And it's a bit like waiting for your lotto numbers, Nigel, on Saturday night.
Right.
There is literally a little drum thing that rolls around and a number comes out, and here's the bill that gets drawn. We've been a bit lucky and had some good bills drawn. The government have chosen to support some of them, but not all of them, and I guess that's the way it works in Parliament. So that one there, I haven't got the details in front of me. I think it's a bit more on the saliva test.
Okay. Well, we'll hear about that in due course. The trade deal with the EU sounds to be positive for our farmers, does it?
Yes, will be very, very beneficial. It's a very big market. Millions of people in the EU, and we've got a very good sheep meat quota into the EU and a long-standing veterinary agreement, so we want to protect those for our food safety. But the challenge will be when we get into the real negotiation as to what are the trade-offs like any of these deals, and we need to make sure that we're doing what we can to protect our patch, and hopefully it will be beneficial to all of New Zealand's interests.
Yes. And just touching on the M. bovis, Gypsy Days is coming up the end of June. How is this going to be handled this year, Nathan, moving the cows from farm to farm?
Well, I think what will happen, we get the decision on Monday whether it's, eradication and continue or to pull back a bit into long-term management. So farmers really need certainty. The clock has been ticking a bit long on this one. And what's happening now is a lot of farmers are moving. They do anyway. Mid-May they start moving right through to early June. Sort of Gypsy Days, a thing of the past where a lot of shear milkers used to walk their herds down the road to the next door farm where they had a contract. Now it tends to be put them on a truck and send them away for winter grazing.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I think what will happen is they'll say those infected properties, there's about 39 of them, that no way they can move. They're on lockdown anyway. There's another 300 odd that are on traced properties, and there's another 1,700 sort of on a watch list. So they'll probably restrict those movements of those animals and then allow anyone else to, I would think, just freely move their stock. But it certainly has been a bit of a wake-up call, and farmers and everyone in that supply chain need to be doing a bit more to adhere to NATE and the animal movements. That's the NATE is the tracing sort of tax system.
Yes, yeah. The share milking side of it, though, that it might die, mightn't it? There won't be too many want to take that on now.
Well, I read that story and I am quoted in it. I was trying to be a bit more positive because share milking has been a fundamental progressive pathway for young farmers to get into farm ownership in New Zealand. We've got the best model out there anywhere in the world. Some have tried to replicate it and it doesn't work in other countries. And I'm hopeful that share milking will be able to continue. Yes, it will mean a bit of a reset in terms of farmers doing more to monitor animal movements and products coming onto their farm, etc. You've got to think about the contractors as well, all of those things. So there'll be more, I think, documentation around making sure that farmers adhere to good biosecurity practices. It just may mean that share milkers stay with their existing farmers a bit longer. And you've got to remember there are all sorts of levels in the share milking agreement. Some are lower order, so they don't own the cows, but they get a share of the milk check each week. And I don't see that as being problematic. Those with 50-50, where the young share milking couple, as an example, might own the herd, it may create a few more obstacles, but I'm sure that we can hopefully navigate our way through that, because I'd hate to see that share milkers sort of drop out of the New Zealand dairy system. It wouldn't be good for people to be able to progress through the industry.
Certainly wouldn't. All right, Nathan, I'll let you get back to your constituents, but we do appreciate your time. Talk to you in a fortnight if possible.
Look forward to it, Nigel. Thank you very much.
Nathan Guy, Otaki MP here on Beach FM.
106.3 Beach FM.